Hi, today I want to talk to you about goals. Everybody has to have one, and they do help. Let me start off by recapping. I'm 68 years old, and I've been on tirzepatide since December of 2023, and I've lost 60 pounds. I've been on maintenance for about 3 months now. So altogether, over 12 and a half, 13 months, I've lost this 60 pounds. And that's a little bit more than a pound a week, which is average. They say between 1 to 2 pounds. And I started off by saying, I'm just going to do this medication to jumpstart my diet. So I ordered some. And before I actually get into that, I knew nothing about the medication other than name brand. I didn't know you could get it elsewhere through other compounding pharmacies until I was at work. And one of the people that I work with, he's also a race car driver, and he was telling me that him and his whole crew were taking the tirzepatide and lost weight and were doing really well. So he gave me the name of his telehealth company that he got it from. I called up, I made an appointment, did my video conference with them, and I got my medication. Like I said, my first goal was basically just to jumpstart my diet. So I got my 1 month of 2.5, and I was doing really well. I wasn't thinking about food. I was never hungry, which was one of my biggest fears because on every diet, it's like, how hungry am I going to be? And you're almost like, when is my next meal? I can't wait. I'm hungry. You can't wait to wake up the next day so that you could start your calories all over again. And I didn't have any of that. And that was food noise. I never even knew what food noise was until I didn't have it. I'm like, aha, so this is what normal people with normal weight are thinking. So I learned after my month of 2.5, I'm like, this is working really well. So I ordered the 5 milligrams and I did that and it was working really well. And I'm not going to say it was easy, but again, I didn't have the food noise. I didn't have all the desires. I was eating smaller portions. I wasn't hungry all the time. And I'm like, well, let's rethink this. While the lowest weight that I had while I was an adult over the last 20 years or so was about 142. So I'm like, let me make that my next goal. So I proceeded till I got there. And when I reached there, I'm like, hmm. According to the BMI, I'm still considered overweight. So why don't I get to normal weight for my height? And I know BMI isn't the best way to go because it's antiquated, and if you're a muscle builder, you're gonna be overweight. And we know they're not overweight. That's just a very old system, and they are changing that, but change takes time. So then I reached my normal weight. I was just into my normal weight. And I'm like, what happens if I go on vacation and I gain 2, 3 pounds? I'm back to overweight again. So like, let me lose about 6 or 7 more pounds so that I don't have to worry about that. And I actually ended up losing about 10 more pounds and was happy with that. And then I started my maintenance. Now, you don't have to do it this way. That's just the way I did it. But you go into this and you should have goals, and your goals can change. Let's say you want to start and you ultimately want to lose 100 pounds. Well, you're not going to lose 100 pounds in 2 months. So, keep it realistic. 100 pounds is realistic, but you have to figure, give yourself between a pound and 2 pounds a week. And the more you have to lose, the quicker you're going to lose it at first, but eventually it will catch up with you. And you probably will have some stalls on the way. I had a stall who lasted about 6, 7 weeks. And I was fortunate that when I started this, I measured myself and I measured myself several times during it. So during my stall, it turns out I was losing inches. I'll take that. That's good for me. And I was working out a lot, and I know that the muscle weighs more than the fat, so I kind of chalked it up to that. And I figured, well, let me first make sure that my portion size is what I think it is, and my calorie intake is what I think it is, and my exercise output is about what I think it is. And what? So then I said, well, let me change up what I'm eating a little bit because your body gets used to what you eat. If you eat the same thing every day, your body's going to get used to it. You want to take an example of that, look at people in the construction industry. There's plenty of overweight guys that are in construction, and their body is used to that type of exercise and work that they do and used to what they eat, so they stay the same. But you have to change things up a little bit. So I did that, and sure enough, the weight started coming off again. I also added a little bit extra carbs just to, again, I wanted to make sure my body wasn't in starvation mode, and it wasn't that I just, it was hanging on to the fat because I wasn't getting enough calories. So again, get into it, you're going to lose 100 pounds, and let's say you're going to give yourself 65, 70 weeks. That's somewhat realistic. But that's a long time. So you may want to have some goals in between. You may want to say, I want to lose 20 pounds in almost 4 months, figuring that 16 weeks, 20 pounds, it's a little bit more than a pound a week. That's realistic. And you reach your goal and you're like, yay, you have something to look forward to. And again, always remember to measure yourself because you could be losing inches, and that's a non-scale victory. Let's take all the non-scale victories we can and all those small goal victories that we can. And if you don't make your goal, but you're close, don't be hard on yourself. Some people are what they call turtles. They just don't lose as fast. And that's actually not a bad thing as long as you're losing. Because if you lose it slower, your skin has time to recover. You don't seem to get what's called Ozempic face, which probably should be called quick weight loss face, because it'll happen on, it's not the medication, it'll happen on any quick weight loss that you get drawn in and older looking. It's like, hey, all of a sudden you feel better, your labs are better, you might be off some of your medications, you never felt better, and all of a sudden you look 15 years older. But if you lose it a little bit slower, it gives your skin time to heal. Same thing with, the loose skin in your stomach. It'll give yourself time to heal. So it's not a bad thing losing it slow. And it'll also help with hair loss because one of the side effects from rapid weight loss, whether it's on medication or just on a regular diet, is hair loss. And if you lose it slower, your chances of that are a lot slimmer. Now, if you do, there's things you could do, and I have videos on my channel that talk about that. So if that is a problem with you and you want to look it up, please refer to those videos. I have plenty of videos on my channel about all these types of side effects. So again, the slower is not a bad thing. There's many things that factor into that. Medications that you're taking. If you're a diabetic or close to being a diabetic, you tend to lose a little bit slower. Your immune system, if you are sick, it alters your weight. There's plenty of factors. The amount of exercise that you do. And I'm not saying you have to go out to the gym every day, but if you could just take a little walk once in a while, anything helps. So again, we're talking about goals, but these are all things that will help you get to your goal. And don't be too hard on yourself if once in a while you go out to dinner and eat a little something that you shouldn't. This is a way of life. And if you're going to change your lifestyle, you're going to have days like that. But it's always good to have goals. And now my goal is to maintain my weight. And I'm still taking the medication. I'm still trying to, I went down in dose. I'm still trying to figure out what dose works best and what timing. I've gone down from 10 to 7.5. I went down to 5 for a week and I had some food noise. Well, maybe I have to go in between. There's other choices like doing 2.5 on Sunday, doing the other 2.5 on Wednesday. A lot of people don't agree with that because you don't get the full effect of the medication. I haven't tried this, but there's lots of options, and maintenance, it's a new thing with this weight loss medication. Hasn't been around that long. People are just getting into maintenance or have been in maintenance for 6 months, 8 months. So it's fairly new. But Again, I have the goal of staying the same. So I have a goal, and so far for the last 3 months, I've reached my goals. I'm happy. So it's important to have goals. I want to say I'm not a doctor. I'm not a nutritionist. I'm just telling you what works for me. I'll always punch you back to your healthcare provider or a nutritionist. Uh, I want you, hopefully, to learn from my experience and my journey. I want you all to have a good day now.